let's move to this story because it's the long-standing saga of the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. Accused number one, Muzi Sibiya, continues to face questions on his whereabouts around the time the football star was killed. Prosecutors have been interrogating Sibiya's claims that he was living in KwaZulu-Natal at the time. The state has provided bank transactions showing that most of his bank transactions in 2014 occurred in Gauteng. Mnisi has been closely following this trial and joins me now in studio. 2014 is that year, and this is the year that they're unpacking the events of this year. And I guess now it needs to go into backstories because accused number one is saying, well, he wasn't even in the province at that stage, and yet here are bank statements proving that he may actually have been.
Yeah, and right at the center of this testimony or this part of the cross-examination relates to where he was that year, right, in the lead-up, of course, to the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. His version, you'd recall, is that he had lost his job back in 2013. In March 2013, he left Gauteng, moved back to KwaZulu-Natal. And in 2014, he was never in Gauteng. And this is a version that was put to a critical state witness, Constable Sizwe Zungu. And the state has really been challenging him on that particular aspect because after that version was put Arabile last year, the state brought an e-Natus expert, someone who works in the e-Natus system, and he said this guy sat for 2 learner's license tests that year. Right? And the following piece of evidence that was brought are the bank statements that you speak of, which showed transactions in that particular year. Some of them happening in October, the month that Senzo Meyiwa was killed, in Gauteng. So they're basically trying to say it can't be true that you were never in Gauteng. Yeah. And he says, well, on the stand now, he says, well, I was based back at home, but I would regularly come to Gauteng, as and when there was a need, but I would also then travel back home. I wasn't fully based in Gauteng. And the lawyers have been questioning him, saying, also, the version that was put is that you were never in Gauteng. The word that was used was that never in Gauteng that particular year. So essentially trying to perhaps demonstrate the changing in that particular version. But the issue of the alibi then comes up, and this is what the state had to ask him.
We're just referring you to this evidence just to show that when we have an alibi, you'll disclose it at the earliest opportunity.
I did not say it at an earliest date or earliest time. But what I'm saying is that I know nothing about the killing of Senzo. I was never present at the scene of crime. I could not have said it as early as possible because I do not know anything about Senzo's death. And again, Senzo was not special to me. And as I've already indicated that I do not know as to where was I on the 26th of October.
So it's more denials, basically, of saying, I do not know anything about the whereabouts, the situation, or where or how things fared, even in that month and the night of.
Yeah, absolutely. And the state saying, he should have disclosed his alibi, earlier, right? And the question relates to the importance of putting that alibi to the state witnesses who, for example, place him in phosphorus because they get to then respond. If you remember the evidence of Constable Sizwe Zungu, who said, we were together that day at the hostel, right? If that version or that alibi is put to him, then he's simply able to respond. But of course, he continues to fight, saying that he knows nothing about the murder of Senzo Meyiwa, but ultimately, the state bears the onus. So they're challenging him on his version, and he is digging in his heels, saying, I know nothing about the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. Even in the coming years, I'll know nothing.
11 years on from when the soccer star unfortunately came to pass, we're still having the court case continue in our courts. Mnisi continuing to follow that. Thank you so much for all of that as well.